Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for joining this. I guess a couple things I'm more so focused on is as far as like how unemployment goes over the next couple years, and obviously as far as like the election goes, who's gonna get elected into office and actually do things. I guess that's kind of where I'm more so looking at things. So as far as like CPI and all those numbers go, they're just kind of numbers. The unemployment one is kind of the important one for me. I am curious on like the housing end of things because there's a lot of people that are like fucking up on their mortgage loans right now. So I'm really curious to see how things go in the market if we end up seeing a decline in the market because things are still fairly expensive in the housing market, in my opinion. So those are the kind of two things I'm looking at. I mean, right now, as far as things go, I mean, we're still fucking around with Ukraine, which isn't really good. We're still doing the whole like war thing, so that's not the best right now. As much as the government keeps saying like, yeah, we're bringing prices down. I mean, everybody I know is complaining. I mean, even me now, like, I'm realizing that even when I go to the store, things have increased. They haven't gone back down, even though they claim they are. So that's going to be really interesting to see. Like, are people are going to be able to afford things? Are they going to be getting backed up on credit card payments? Does that mean like subscriptions and things like that from like other companies like Netflix, Disney, whatever you can think of? Are they going down? What's going on? So it's a bigger picture for me, but at the end of the day, it all comes back to data for me. So it's kind of that's kind of my outlook. So I don't know if that's what you want to hear, but that's kind of what I'm looking at in things and in terms of the economy. Are people spending the money properly, or they pretty much canceling things and not spending because they got to pay their bills, or they pretty much just defaulting out? I mean, as far as like the monthly goes, I mean, I don't typically go this far out on hunts of things. Like sometimes if I see something dumping into support on the monthly, yeah, then I'll go ahead and buy things. But I mean, what I'm noticing on the monthly is, I mean, this is pretty much a bearish setup altogether. But I know that the lower time frames can change this. But if it's going to be the same thing like any other strategy I have on here, if for some reason this breaks the cloud over here, I mean, that's pretty bad over here. And this is like the first time in a while we've done this. We haven't broken the cloud in, yeah, since like 2008. So that's going to be interesting. But at the other hand, what I'm interested in is if this is already down nearly 50% over here. I mean, this is probably the point where if there are going to be leap buyers coming in, this is where they would buy, because any kind of option pricing, we pretty much wiped out an entire year's of option pricing in no time. So that kind of volatility to the downside for any kind of leap option plays. Nat gas time soon, dude. Yeah, I did go ahead and slurp some boil calls. I mean, I knew it was gonna go ahead and down. There wasn't a full possibility, so I am definitely 100% down on those. But they're dated, and I knew, and I still can scale in on them, and I have money set aside for that. So, we'll check that in a minute. But yeah, it doesn't look too good for nat gas. It's still going down. So I'm still trying to see if this does bottom out soon. The support that I was looking at was the monthly anyway, so I kind of had that coming in that it was potentially going to go back down. So we'll check that in a minute. But yeah, this is the big concern for me right now, is what's going to happen on the lower time frames, because if the lower time frames don't end up fixing up, that's going to be pretty bad if we start breaking down. But hopefully we start bouncing out, because over here on the monthly, the support levels look like this. So there's a flat cloud base right over there. Go ahead and stretch that on out right there. And I don't have any lines on here, so you can see me do the TA right off the bat. So there goes our weekly line over here. So our main number of area of focus is this one, and the number seems to lie around 91. So that's kind of the main support area. And just by looking at things over here, I mean, like I said, things that have been declining like this for a while are things that I'm interested in to see if they can go ahead and get compression and get into the cloud. So we do have a little bit of time. Main thing is going to be just seeing if the option data comes in, and we're seeing buyers coming in with Google. So I'm seeing a couple things over here. Like, that's why this was interesting to me. But when I look at the pricing of things, I mean, it's still kind of expensive, but it's not bad. We're getting some 170 strikes over here for 359. It's a block order. If you notice the open interest, it's still fairly low. Volume's still low as well. So they are definitely still scaling into things. Let me check that again on here. So that 170 strike is, yeah, that's pretty exotic. So that could be one of two things. They're actually buying into it, which to like actually hold and expect that kind of pricing. But or the other thing, which is kind of what I'm leading to now, is that they're just betting on a volatility play, that we're going to have some sort of upside volatility, and they can just get out that way. They don't necessarily need to stay in that play for 2025. That's something I'll have to observe by watching the open interest and seeing if it actually rises and if the same block players come back in. But the more reasonable ones are like the 140 calls, the 130 calls. Let's see where they are. But let me go ahead and get my upper levels drawn. So right now, right off the bat, what we know is this needs to go ahead and break into the clouds over here. So let's get this line drawn over here. This matches up with price action as well, because I typically assess everything from left to right rather than right to left. Right shows the future. The left shows at the actual price action. So Ichi's forwarded up a little bit. If you notice over here, this is a daily candle for today, but it shows you information ahead of time. But you should already know that. So unlike the last one, we're not really getting many dated players. I mean, we're getting some players. I mean, I guess this one's interesting over here. 65, 818 strike, August, priced at $1.80, low open interest, highlighted as unusual. I mean, that's interesting for me if I wanted to do like a dated out lotto on something I do have a little bit more conviction on. Where is that 65 strike at? So the 65 strike is up over here at an unusual point on my lines. I've been trading this ticker for like years now. How long has it been? Where's my first set of lines? Yeah, I've been trading this since like 2019 Marvel. So Marvel, I would say that 65 strike lies right around this point. So that's that 65 strike. I mean, if we get into the clouds, I would expect some volatility and then most likely get out ahead of time, either at the black line or the red line. Unless for some reason we're just kind of grinding up slowly, we're like staircasing up. So this would be the ideal scenario where we just push up. That way I don't need to wait for that 65 point. But if I think this is going to break out further and we're actually setting up really nicely and we're going to go ahead and see semis run all the way through, that could be really good. Then we can aim for 75 and then we'll go in the money. But I wouldn't mind waiting to see a little bit longer if we get a little bit of consolidation more, so I can get a cheaper price on these calls. But they're pretty cheap right now. $2 is pretty cheap. I don't. Sometimes I do. It just depends on the situation, like what kind of trading I'm doing. I mean, technically I have it off just because I don't want to confuse people, and because it ends up being too many lines. But on some cases, yeah. But it's more so when, I think I wrote it in my little article thing I have pinned. I use it more in the sense of like, where is it based off in the clouds? Has it broke through the clouds? Is it above the clouds or below the clouds? So I kind of use it more like that. But yeah, I don't really need the lagging span. But that's just me though, because I already use B-bands with it. So that kind of takes care of everything there for me. Yeah, I was just telling everybody I was working on my strategy through TrendSpider and everything. This is just another one, but we'll see what ends up happening over here. Let me turn this off. Would love to get people's opinion on it. So we got some weekly breakouts on the government sector. That's what I was looking at earlier. I mean, we have a bunch of time, so it's only 2:27 right now. I said I was going to be on stream until 4 at least. So we have a good amount of time right now. So the breakout with MPK right now is going to be interesting because right now we're headed to about $90 and we just freshly broke out of the weekly. If we go over here on the daily looks good. I'm not seeing any kind of issues over here with the daily. We're flipping over the POC right now, which is going to be fantastic. So this will be interesting to see this go through. I've never actually played this ticker. It's just something I saw last night. Look, again, the price action's trying. Like, it's trying really hard to make sure it stays up over the Tenkin and tries to get over the Kijun. So we're at an interesting point right now with UNG. If we can get a push on NG in general, looks like we're trying to push over the Kijun. So this could be something that sets it off to get back into the clouds. But for right now, it's absolutely important that we flip over the $8.20 area. If we can't flip that, it's just going to end up coming back down. And the bearish TK that's in play will just play out. So it needs a little bit of work. It's trying. It's has not bottomed out yet. So it definitely got rejected over here and ruined a couple things. Yeah, I can chart out bots. Oh, this is exactly what I was looking for the other day. Let me add this to my list. What's the gaming ETF, if you guys remember? I don't remember which one it was. Yeah, this looks fantastic. If this can go ahead and actually close in, so it'll probably need a little bit more time. I would say another week or two to figure out if this is actually going to go ahead and close into the clouds. But as long as it can make it into there by mid-March at the latest, this should be a good play, especially with the narrative of AI and everything. Like, I think people are still just starting to catch on with that whole entire trend. Let's check this out in... Let's check this over here. Bots. 9/15/23 calls coming in for September, but it's a split play, which means they're doing double-sided plays. Let's check January. There's dark pools coming in January, so that's a while back. But the most recent play is at the beginning of this month, this odd 9/15/23 play for 58 cents. Which we can actually go ahead and check this right now, since this was far back. We'll get an idea of if it's actually still valid, if they ended up actually holding the plays. I think Ford's going to pump soon, so I'm going to go ahead and go with that. And it's cheap right now, too. Ford's at that perfect point where it's cheap enough to do any kind of like dated lottos, and it's good, decent protection for the upside. Yeah, this is something really, for me, it's personally interesting because these are the kind of lottos I like. I like something where you have a dated amount of time this fits the narrative of everything right now going through. A lot of people don't really know what to play when it comes to like tickers, but if people understand that there's actually an ETF for it and they get a little bit more exposure, I'm sure if this pumps a little bit more, you'll start seeing it being talked about by CNBC because they probably already have loaded up on their bags. So yeah, this is a nice find. I like it. I guess if you're looking for invalidations or anything bad, you just got to focus on the daily. If this starts breaking down, again, like I said, 2 weeks on the weekly. So it's 313 is the date over here. But when we go ahead and go over here on the daily, the bearish thing over here is breaking into the clouds. So that's going to basically invalidate any kind of weekly thesis you have over there and go ahead and validate you in general. So you're looking at about 3/7 is the date over here. So we'll find out in the beginning of March if this is actually going to go ahead and invalidate down or continue going up. Something to go back up. If you notice, like the clusters that I was talking about, our Kijin, Tenkin, B-Bands line is over here. So we want to go ahead and flip over 24. If this can flip back over 24 and hold over 24, it should go ahead and just keep going back up. But that's kind of what I'm expecting on my end. So I like this one a lot. Nice find. The main thing is Dixie right now. That's the thing that concerns me is we're basically to that point which I've been talking about for a little bit on stream. We're at that resistance point, at the purple point. This is like the max tolerance point the market can take. If we don't start rejecting over here, this is going to be bad. But I mean, it looks like it should start turning over here with us having 4 daily candles or 4 weekly candles like this one, and this one looking like it's going to top out. So let's see what happens over here on the daily. I mean, this is a weak cloud point. Typically, whenever we have weak cloud points like this, what ends up happening is we do end up rejecting over here and breaking down. If for some reason we do break out over here, it should still roll over again. It's just going to take a lot of bullish pressure for us to keep going and then hitting that 108 levels. And hitting 108 will be pretty bad. So that's why it's kind of just funny. All this is happening right around the time that you want to probably place puts for that whole sell in May and go away thing. Fear. Dude, you're back. ETH Denver? I have not confirmed anything for ETH Denver yet. Just kind of been dealing with like family shit, so that's kind of the main concern over there with ETH Denver. I do want to go. I mean, I can technically go. I just got to make sure that my pops is back home and not up in New York. So he's actually up in the hospital in New York, so that's kind of my main concern there, is just making sure he gets back home. So if he gets back home, I'm good to go. I can go ahead and come because I'm not doing anything right now, and I don't have any contracts right now with anything. So I do have the time. It's just the family shit. And I did get a company that's looking into seeing if they can get me up there as just a speaker on like some finance shit. I mean, this is just the one that's been pissing me off a lot because I've been nailing just like the general TA of things. I just haven't been playing any of the plays. So I knew this thing was going to pump down over here and I never grabbed it. And then over here, it got rejected at the thing at the clouds over here, and I knew this thing was gonna dump. And I see now it's all the way over here at 28, which if you ever play FXI, the gaps down on this one end up gapping it the price up about like 20 to 30%. So that's pretty decent for like daily returns if you're just doing quick scalps. Oh, like look at this one. So this was around this point. It even got rejected over here. It gave me a little bit of time to go ahead and get in. So yeah, this is why I'm hoping, like, once I get the bot going, I'm actually going to load it up with some live trades and just run it on automatic. I feel like I'd be so much better if I just set up a daily bot and had to do my things rather than me overcomplicate things in my head. And I also don't have time to watch everything. This one's just a mental thing. I've just had such weird luck with this one where whenever I play it, it works out sometimes, but I end up holding things a little bit longer than I should, so it ends up hurting me. Yeah, SLV still going down. Gold still going down. Dixie's really bringing everything down with it. So like I said, Dixie has a point right now where we're at purple, and we need to make sure we go ahead and reject. Gold has the same point as well. So gold needs to make sure it holds up over at 18, because if it doesn't, then we're pretty much fucked there. That means you're going to be coming back down to 1740, and then at that point, that's where miners are going to start coming down significantly. Miners are coming down just a little bit right now. Like most of my miner plays that I'm in, I'm still good. I'm not overly concerned about things just because I have entries back from like September and October, so it's not that big of a deal. But I am definitely getting concerned if we do start breaking this level over here. At that point, we'll have to hedge harder. Like I have a couple puts that are doing good on my miners, but like I said, if we start breaking down further, I'll have to like figure out a strategy where like I can exit safely but still make some money over there. Yeah, it's not bad. Depending on like what price they got in at. This player right over here, if they ended up grabbing them at 627, looks like these are at about 114 with their ask is at 114, the bid is at 101. So they still got a bunch of time on their hand, and it's just starting to come right back up. So we'll see what happens over here. It has a cluster point over here at 665. It does need to go ahead and flip over here, and we need to make sure it doesn't bearish TK out. You wouldn't want this to lose the 1186 level, so it does need to go ahead and flip back over 1275. If it can flip back over 1275, or at least hold over that 1186 level by looks like it's the first week of March. This is where the Kumo twist is. So if it can hold up in the first week of March by 3, it should be okay to go ahead and continue back up. I like this personally. Like I'm a big fan of the uranium and just like the different types of energies and all those sources like that. So I wouldn't mind just holding an investment bag and just grabbing as much as I can, because it looks like it's been consolidating for quite some time now. Yeah, it definitely looks like it's compressing out over here. If it can go ahead and flip on my end, 509, it should be ready to go and just continue on to about 620. You probably might run into some issues at 600, but it's getting very, very close to that point. You really don't want it breaking over here at 487, because if it does break 487, you're looking back down to that lower range around that 460 area. But let's see what the data says. Yeah, for the month of Costco, at least as far as like option plays go, there's some data coming in, but it doesn't look like anything of size is coming in. It's just small players. Like there's something that gets close to 1 mil, but then when you look at the open interest side of things, there really isn't much open interest. And when I'm looking at like the expirations and everything, there's nothing dated coming in. There's stuff that comes out to March, but that's about it. Do I got this right? Do I have any filters on? Yeah, no filters on this side. So this personally would be something I would avoid until we actually flip over that 509 level. After that point, I wouldn't mind paying a little extra just to actually make sure it's going to be going up. Unfortunately, I'm like super setup driven, so if I don't see my setup, I just kind of ignore things or wait for levels to flip. Okay, now we're at power hour, so we can check out. Oh, that's a warning. Let's check this out. See what we're doing over here. These are the levels for SPY right now if we do start breaking down. So right now we're holding up on that 397 area. So that's a good thing that we're doing that. If we do start breaking below there, where you're looking at 393, and then if we break 393, you're looking at 385. But if we can manage to hold up over here and get back over the 408 level, again, I don't see why we wouldn't continue up to 416 and then 420. The big concern for me is the fact that we broke out of the weekly over here, so we needed to stay up over here in the weekly. What we need to make sure we do now is, that's why it's really important we hold up over here on this red price action or on the Tenkin over here. Because what we need to do is make sure we get into the clouds this way. If for some reason, I mean, what typically ends up happening in this case, the only reason I'm giving it a little bit of leeway is because it's SPY and markets can flip in a minute. We need to make sure it doesn't ride down the clouds. Like, that's the worst case scenario. If it rides down the clouds, that's pretty bad. At that point, you're looking at 385 for sure. But these are weekly time frames and things can change. That's why I'm like not overly concerned. Like, it's trying its hardest to hold up over here on the 4-hour clouds. Cloud structure isn't changing. Alright, I mean, I think I did most of stocks right now. I don't think there's much else we can check out on Stockland right now. It's just a matter of seeing what we do over there. What was that ticker I just had up there? CNX looks like it's doing a bearish retest on this fallout. Should end up heading much, much lower. I let my drink get cold, didn't I? Yes, I did. Let's see what my my feed's looking at real quick before we move on. First, let me check out TrendSpider's feed. I just like checking out, seeing if they have any setups, what they're looking at, where their levels are. Because they use other things over here that I don't use. I mean, typically what I end up looking for things like this, I mean, this is the ideal cloud play where we actually get into the clouds and we go ahead and go through. But some of like the early qualifiers are making sure ahead of time that we're getting that bend on the B-bands line and making sure we have that bullish TK going through. Or this is something where, like I have drawn over here, we're seeing something that's in price compression that's going through and you're getting a cloud entry at the end of compression. So you can do it that way. But the main thing is mostly just making sure we're bending on that B-bands line, getting that bullish TK, and getting that cloud close entry. So a candle into there with a close is pretty much the signal over there for a long. As long as you get the early qualifiers in. Let me see if I can show. Rainbow's like, I'm going to code this out first. I've been trying to code it out, so if you ever want to work on something, I don't know how to like explain on code like the B-bands part, so I get confused on that, like how to explain that. But there's two different ways to go about things. Yeah, I know, that's why I use it, because everybody says it. And yeah, I absolutely hate it because I got all like the names and everything on there. It's a nightmare. So the whole bending of the B-bands is, let me turn off ETH real quick. So you'll see two different structures. You'll see something that's been going in a straight trend upwards, but then you'll start seeing it bend out over here. Like it'll start to curve out. I mean, this is more, you'll see double curves over here, but at the end of the day, when price starts to top out, you'll see hooks like this coming out. And then vice versa on the downside. You'll see on the downside where you'll see hooks like this. This is more so a live hook over here. So something that ends up hooking from over here. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. And then if I combine it with Ichi over here, like I already know ahead of time. So like for something like this, this would have been technically been the exit signal over here because we had that extension outside the B bands by so many percentage. And then we started coming back down. And then the curve just ended up confirming everything, that anything that ends up rejecting on this line is something you can go ahead and add to your position and get out. Because the thing that used to annoy me when I initially started doing this, and I tell everybody this, like before, Like when I was just using Ichi, it used to piss me off because I used to miss out top points. Because technically over here, you get your bearish TK over here. And that's after the price is dumped down. And not only that, you get a push through over here, which kind of would invalidate you if you didn't know what you were doing right off the bat. So it just is kind of annoying because you're getting a late signal. While it does still go ahead and play out, it just used to annoy me. And I'm like, yo, why can't I figure out these tops and bottoms a lot better? So when I ended up adding up B-bands into it, oops, did I close everything? Yeah, when I ended up adding B-bands into things, it would give me better signals as far as like when we have extension outside of B-bands, compression on B-bands for volatility, whatever it may be. Just the B-bands made each a million times easier and just has certain signals which are great. Dude, the person saying hello. Hello. If you have any requests, anything like that, let me know. I got you. Yeah, Dime's a big VWAP one. I mean, I could see that being useful if you're using like using it on the weekly. Basically being something like this. I guess what the signals I'd be looking for is, I know there's a ticker I'm looking for over here. Hang on. Yeah, like something like this, like RGR setting up over here. So I'd be curious to see where the weekly VWAP is, or where the recent or the yearly high VWAP is, and if we're actually going to break through it. Like so, I wonder if I can just pull it up over here real quick. That was RGR. Yeah, can I anchor it? Yeah, like I anchored it to that. I just kind of randomly anchored shit right there. Let me anchor it to the other line. So yeah, I already know like that's the high point anchor. If we can go ahead and clear over here, that'll just ensure that this is going to break through a little harder. Weekly cloud entry over here. It's kind of a weak cloud entry. It's not really the end-to-end type of play I want. It's more so a breakout play. So this would be more so I'm waiting for the price to kind of, get into the clouds, get out of the clouds over here, consolidate and push through, which at that point is just, it breaks over that VWAP line as well as the POC line. Yeah, I'll have to DM you, man, and I'd be curious to see like what it is and if it's on TradingView. I wouldn't mind messing around with it and just seeing how it is. All right, let me go ahead and check out some shitcoins because there's nothing else is going to be happening right now. What we really want to check out is those low caps. I've been dwelling into them and I've been watching like people's wallets and stuff. I don't know, like this fucker. So I saw the tickers he bought and I saw exactly what he did. He did 6 hours of work over here, cashed out 50,000. And I haven't seen him since. I think there might be some newer transactions for this guy now, but no, he cashed out his 50,000 and it has been chilling. And I could have done that the same exact play he did. I just kind of just started watching a couple things, and but then I'm seeing like other guys who are pretty much either panic selling or buying things just to hold on to them, whatever it may be. So it's been really interesting to watch various wallets, watch things that are trending on Dex tools. Rainy's pumping. This is interesting. Rainy corn. Dang. Is this real? Is this the real Rainy? U.S. oil. Yeah, so that's something that's a big concern for me right now. That's something I'm on top of. I think this ticker should pretty much do the same thing, but I'll pull up yours too. Like this is what we didn't want to happen, so that's not good. So we were pretty much compressed out, and we're starting to break down over here. What we really wanted for most of this crude and oil stuff to do is break over that 89 area, and that would have really set us off on things. But now it just looks like we're going to be heading back down to 71. But I'll check out your U.S. oil real quick. Yeah, I mean, pretty much the same setup over here. This, I would say, needs to flip at the very least 78. If this can't flip over 78 and hold, I mean, you're still looking at about 63 for this one. So not the best over here. Yeah, weekly setups haven't cleared any levels yet, so. And I don't know if they've refilled any inventory yet or bought back any barrels. I haven't been on top of that either. As far as I knew last I checked, they haven't refilled any kind of inventories yet. I don't know if they were going to be doing that at the end of this month or the beginning of next month. So I'll have to go ahead and check in on that one again, or check on my Twitter people that focus on it. But Brent basically breaking that level isn't a good sign at all. Like, you did not want Brent to break. So we'll see if it recovers out, but it's probably going to take another week or two for price action, to fix this. Here was one that was having a little bit of a pullback that I wanted to go ahead and grab into. Cat looks really good. If we can get Cat just a little bit lower to about 230, I wouldn't mind adding a bag. This was something that I just recently started an investment a couple months ago. Was generally bullish on Cat. People were just giving me just a bunch of bullish fundamental information. And I was like, all right, you know what? We'll start a bag of Cat. So I think Cat's going to be ripping back to all-time highs. It's a very good, profitable company in my opinion, and just like some of the things that they do that are more than just that's just more than building giant construction vehicles. They're just like a very select industry. I think I went ahead and posted a whole entire tweet thread about this. Let me see if I can find it. I got this new keyboard. Normally, I get nice fancy keyboards, but this time I needed a quick one. And this is the best keyboard I've ever had. And this thing was only, it was like on sale, like Amazon warehouse deal type thing. It was only $12. It's the best keyboard ever. And the 65% part is, I guess I can deal with it without a number pad. But I would definitely want a number pad if I ever game. I don't know if it would be cool. Maybe it was just on stream that I talked about it. Alright, let's go look at these shitcoins now. I keep forgetting. So we want to look at 2.5 million to about, we can do 20 million. Do we need a volume? Nah, fuck it. We don't need a volume right now. Alright. So, we'll start off by price. First, I'm curious to see who are the higher prices right now and why the fuck are they high. I don't know. If you guys see a number you guys want to pick, or if you guys see something over here, if somebody mentions something, we can go ahead and click it and take a look at it. I'm trying to see if there's any ones that I remember. I might actually still have a bag of Boo. I bought Boo a while back just because, I don't know, some Twitter person mentioned it, and I was like, you know what? We're going to buy some Spooky Swap. Yeah, this was the thing where when FTM was hyped up, everybody was talking about FTM, and I mean, it's a DEX. I still don't think that the DEX wave has caught on to people. Like, people are still using DEXs, but there's always an issue with somebody. I mean, the only ones that are really being used are Uniswap. Like, Uniswap's kind of the main one right now. Everybody kind of uses Uniswap, but I don't think Uniswap really has like the same core values as other true DEXs do. I would say that's kind of like a halfway between a SEX and a DEX. So, but that's just my opinion on Uniswap. I mean, I'm sure they'll all pump Uniswap, SushiSwap at some point. So I only use two things, and if you're ever really curious about it, I'm trying my best to do something for like beginners so I don't confuse people. So I did go ahead and enter some articles. I only use two things. I use my Ichimoku and I use B-bands. Anything else you see on there is kind of just my own shit. You can ignore anything else, but the main strategy relies on B-bands and Ichimoku, and I tried my best to write things out for people. So I'm like super strategy focused on things. Just over the years, it's like every time I break my rules for any of my trading, I end up suffering. Like 90% of the time, if I break my rules, every time I regret it. So that's why I've come up with my own strategy that helps me out. I mean, most people can use it. I try to explain the most basic methods at first, and after that, it's just refinement of just watching it and understanding how it's affected by price action. So it takes your price action skills and refines them a little bit more and gives you a little bit more better of zones. I mean, I could use price action. That's not a problem. It's just sometimes I like scalping. I like looking for exact tops and bottoms, and this is something that's helped me identify tops and bottoms, or just the ability to scalp. Like it just works. It just works really good for me. So it doesn't matter what I want to do. If I want to do like 5-minute time frames, 1-minute time frames, I can do it. Especially on SPY. Like I love it on SPY. Like it's my most favorite thing on SPY, especially when I'm trying to do like low time frame option scalps. Like it's beautiful, and that's the one thing I try to get across to everybody is like you can do setups. It's just a matter of waiting for the setups to actually appear. Like most of these setups end up being things like this. So whenever I have cloud entries over here, like, or something that I know is going to be entering into the clouds, like for example, like around this cluster, they end up paying out really, really nicely depending on how it's done. So like sometimes these things, like if you, I don't know if you do options on SPY, but if you do, let's say, like weekly expirations, and you get this kind of volatility in your direction, and especially if your things go in the money, those things go from like $1 to like $7 to $12 sometimes. So it definitely ends up being worth it. But as far as like an investor goes, like on an investor side of things, like it's really, really good on investing because I look at weekly time frames a lot, and I know that on weekly time frames things are going to take a little bit of time, so I don't have to FOMO in. I can set up my sizing strategy so I don't have to size in immediately or all at once, like, and I can scale things out in like 4 different tranches. So it's I think it's useful for me, and I have multiple different levels I can bid on. As far as like Confluence goes, like it doesn't matter. Like I have a lot of friends that I like watch do stuff. So I have a lot of people that focus on MAs. So one of the big things on MAs is like the 200 MA. I see people using stocks a lot. That's a lot of Confluence for like breakouts of like clouds. So that's a little bit of a next level from things, but. Yeah, I mean, my main things that you'll see on my chart for Confluence is I love volume shelves. Volume profile things, that's something I use a lot, but I don't typically talk about them because I don't want to confuse my audience. But if you're somebody that understands a little bit more advanced things like that, yeah, dude, I could talk about this shit all day long. Yeah, volume profile is something I love. Like stochastic things is something I like, but again, I try to stick to the base of my strategy. If I start looking at other things and I start putting those things into Confluence, I just make sure I adjust my sizing to make sure is this something that the risk is going to be a lot on and I have to lower the sizing, or am I comfortable with what I'm doing? And when it comes to comfortability, I'm more comfortable betting on like a flip and a support bounce off of like a volume shelf and a POC point rather than looking at like a stock RSI or something like that. Like it's cool to look at the stocks and the RSIs, but typically I don't use indicators that are on the bottom. Like you'll see something I have over here, but again, this is all just custom stuff. And the only other Confluence is obviously if you have price action levels drawn. I would assume before you turn on any indicator, you have an understanding of price action. So just general price action levels end up being Confluences or invalidation levels. But let me go back to Sidious and what this was. Let me see what this... Oh, did they say soon? Oh, I can't play that one. Arena. And what is this? That's the metaverse. That's a strategy. We'll do the arena, go to the lobby. Dude, I can really play this one just right off the bat. This has turned into a gaming stream, boys. Let me make sure I have my shitty MetaMask on. Okay, cool. I'm trying to find one with some decent sort of volume or something that looks interesting. Let's look at Bird Money. Let's see how much of a scam this is. Bird Money. Community, Twitter. Always go to the Twitter first. Then it's also interesting when I see my friends on it and I'm like, all right, what the fuck do you guys know? Bird Money? We're following Bird Money. I mean, just right off the bat, just like noticing the followers, like Tommy's following it. Tommy's big brained and he's in PDF, which is interesting. Again, MCP and Baki are on it, so that's interesting as well. Very interesting. Let's see what Bird Money is all about. And they're hiring. Advanced machine learning analytics delivered on chain. All right, Bird Money. Let's go to your website. I was actually just hitting up a company that does stuff like this. It was Blockspan. They're real random. I was trying to be that guy getting in on something like super early, so nobody was following them, and they just got their little grant from whatever it is. I don't know. I forget where it was, but yeah, they just got their funding or whatever, and I was like, all right, well, let me try to be a little early to these guys and try to get on the deets and try to get on the team, maybe grab some tokens, whatever it may be. That's the way to do it, is get in on projects super early, help the team out, or whatever it may be, Discord stuff, content creating, whatever it is, and try to get some kind of tokens. Obviously, you don't have to participate in the sale, but then nobody says you can't get tokens for when they release. I see a lot of big accounts that have done that before, or even smaller accounts that do it and don't even talk about it, where you simply get those tokens early and cash out when they pump out. It's no different than people who work in startups that get paid in IOU promises for when they ICO, and then they cash out in ICOs and work at another startup and do the same thing. So it's not illegal, at least as far as I know. I mean, you're just working for tokens or IOU stickers. API 3, that's one I know. Don't know anybody else. Maybe BeanSwap I know, but I don't know anybody else. AdaSwap I've heard of, actually. So those three, Beam, AdaSwap, and that. Everybody else I haven't heard of. They're on Gate.io. You know it's a scam. Oh, go where I'm so late to Bird Token. No wonder everybody else was on it. This was priced at $8. Dang, that's a nice run for Bird Token. Oh wait, Bird Token. This was last year, Bird Token. Yeah, I guess Bird Token launched last year in the bull market and has been dying. I mean, this might be something. This might be something for a little Hail Mary coming all the way back through and pumping back up, but not something I would want to chase right now. I don't see anything on the website that's interesting. They're just popping shit in e-commerce, smart fundraising for launch pads, DeFi lending products. We're building dApps for everything, so it's the same shit I've seen for the years. So that's a pass for me. I mean, let's go and follow them. We don't want no bird money. Yeah, that's the downside of the research, is just finding things that are worthwhile. Like it's easy in the it's easy when it comes to NFT projects, because how people think and how they react is the way you gotta bet on that stuff. So that's why NFTs are so much easier. Like, yeah, the prices are kind of the same thing as thinking where people are gonna sell and buy, but it's just other things that are involved in NFTs which make things easier. Like, for example, the reason I like that Sidious one was because they have a token. They have a token that's pumping. Not only that, they just recently launched, and they have a decent amount of volume, and they actually have something playable. Most of these places promise you nothing. So when newer people or existing crypto people see it and they're like, yo, there's a working product that they have, and they say all you have to do is buy this and you can play it and test it out. They're touting AAA on their name. It's just like little things like that lead people to believe into shit. And then those are the same things that end up being things for like bigger investors that have unlimited funds. I was just talking about that yesterday. There's people who have unlimited funds, like literally, legitimately, like they can buy everything they want and nothing will happen. They can buy 1 million NFTs and they can all go to zero, and they'll buy 2 million more. So there are people who have that kind of money. And those are the kind of people that you want to get into your project, because at the end of the day, they're really not going to sell unless they really hate the project or they don't want the NFT. They'll just buy it in terms of historical value, whatever it may be. So once you get those investors in and they're starting to like stuff, people will see that. It's so easy to tell the route of things when it comes to NFTs. People make a joke about it and say it's a scam and stuff. Yeah, it's a scam, but at the end of the day, it's also art, And same thing as collecting. And the bigger difference of this is like you can see who are the bigger collectors and what they're holding, and you can watch their wallets, and you can copy trade them, or you can front run them, whatever it may be. There's just so much opportunity for whatever kind of, however big your brain wants to get in NFTs, whether it be through a data standpoint, front running standpoint, botting standpoint, scamming standpoint, whatever it is. It all judges on your brain level and your morality level over at NFT land. ZRX is building for forever. Like, this is something I've been in for like years. I think this is one of the first set of tickers I ever got into. Horrible idea. I should have never invested. I regret every single moment of this. But I did get in at like 10 cents, so it's not that big of a deal. So I am still kind of up. But they haven't done anything. It was nice cashing out a little bit at $2. So that's basically my bull market thesis, is that there are tickers that are ancient tickers that ended up going up. So you see the mountain peaks over here, and all I will be aiming for is either the first mountain peak over here. So I'll be aiming either over there, and then maybe have a little lotto bag for the second one. Maybe if I'm smoking enough like crack or whatever it may be, hopium, whatever it is, maybe I'll aim for the final upper target over here. But yeah, that's the kind of easy plays that I'm looking for. Things that I've been dumping like that are forming those patterns, and I just want to aim for the first set. So 30 to 90 is cool with me. And that's what you can see across the board with a lot of the altcoins too. Like, look over here. ADA, let me go to the weekly. Like, they're all setting up. Every single one I could think of. XLM USD setting up. XRP USD setting up. Whatever you can think of, it's setting up on the weekly. It's just a matter of patience. So yeah. Yeah, I feel bad looking at shitcoins with people, because it's like, I don't know if you guys are actually liking what I'm looking at. So if you guys can tell me, you guys want me to look at certain tickers or whatever it be, or something you see, let me know. Because it's not that exciting. It's just kind of, since there's so many tickers, unless I sit down there and write it out, or if I'm looking for a certain category, it's a little different. DAG is good. DAG is one of the older ones. DAG probably has a setup. There it is right there. Yeah, beautiful setup. Yeah, this is definitely something I would want to go ahead and play if this reverses around. That's why everything relies on Bitcoin so much right now. Like, Bitcoin needs to get into these clouds, and we need to start recovering back down. I mean, we've pretty much retraced a good decent amount over here. So if we can start getting things back on track, or even consolidating a little bit more into the clouds, would be fine with me. Litecoin's like the best example of everything. Like, Litecoin's in the clouds, Litecoin's ready to go, Litecoin's just looks beautiful. Like, we want Bitcoin to do this. And then eventually DAG will do the same thing. We'll get into the clouds, we'll start pumping out. You'll see DAG back up at 50, looks like it's about 12 cents first, and then final target will be around 19.20. 46 to 50K will get tagged this year. I mean, I wouldn't doubt what you're saying if you were saying this to me in June. If you say this to me in June and we're still holding up, yo, we're sending this to 50K. I'm just really concerned about the whole sell in May and go away vibe. Just because that works out every year for me. And I'm just concerned on what Dixie does and what we do around that point. So that's why this whole March, April point is going to be super important. I would love to see that, though. If we're looking at, like, upper targets and I'm being, like, reasonable. Here's the thing with Bitcoin. Like, being reasonable means that, so, like, I have, like, 3 different target levels. So you're looking at 27.1 for the first target right now, just getting, tapping into the clouds, whatever it may be, right over here. And then you're looking at the second level around like 33K. So at the very least, I'm aiming for those levels. You said 45 to 50K. If we're looking at like those peaks that I was just talking about, it would be over here. So I would say 48K is probably like my max target point. If we can go beyond 48K, that'd be amazing. But anything beyond 48K just pretty much means that we need to break over 65. So that's kind of where my mentality would lie. 48K breaking would be awesome. It's just 100% without a doubt that 65K is going to be resistance. And you can short the shit out of it. Ah, shit, I got to do it. Last call for entries. Let me just bump it. This is something fun. I mean, it's just something silly, like, something silly you can do. I wonder if I can post this in chat. Yeah, I try to support some artists, not everybody. Like, I mean, I try my best not to talk about the ones that are already making hand over fist. I try to support the ones that are, making an effort, actually doing work, which to me looks like you're not just sending it out to like a Fiverr artist, and you're not just giving it to your kids to draw, or you're just not doing it real quick through an AI program. So as long as you look like you're actually doing your own custom work and putting the effort in, yeah, I don't mind supporting. And if it's something cool and resides with me, obviously I won't support every single thing, but if it's cool, like, yeah, I got you. I've been watching this stuff just go up. You could have destroyed your cards to get Pepe checks, and then they could have cashed you out on Pepe checks for $3,000 for free, and you could have had multiple ones. That's insane. This guy, Vincent, just making money out of thin air for everybody. But those Pepe checks from yesterday, they're down fucking double. They went from 0.01 to 0.2. Well, shit, man. And look, the volume is absolutely insane. The volume's just not stopping. So, yeah, this is insane. Absolutely fucking insane. So the price is 6 times so far since we've been checking this out on every one of our streams. And I still don't think you're late. And the reason, look, it's very, very simple. While this does seem like the price is pumped a lot, I don't think you guys understand how this works. The whole thing behind these little checks are that... Here, let me look up something else for you beforehand. I was looking up major game publishers. 1 ton tungsten cube. That's what you get. If you have 100,000 of those Pepes, you can go ahead and do that. Yeah, so some anonymous crypto group just was sold for $250,000. Okay, so somebody recently just went ahead and flexed it. They're like, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and buy this tungsten cube, and that's a tungsten Dow, people. So back to what we were saying over here. Where's those Pepes? So the whole thing behind this is if you burn 100,000 Pepes, you can go ahead and get one delivered to your door, and they will deliver you a 1 ton tungsten cube to you. Now, there's only 237K items, or basically 200, we'll just say 240,000. So there's only 240,000 of these Pepe checks. In order to buy these things, you have to buy them over here. This is no different than an order book. Look at this order book, how thin it is. There's not that many people listing them. And when they do, they realize it because it's volume coming through. But you're going to need to spend a lot of money to get 100,000. Either you're going to have to wait for people to accept your bids and go the bid route. Whatever route you're taking, it's going to pump the price regardless. So even from this point, you're looking at about a 10x still. So the price should end up going to 0.1, if not about 0.2, just by general sweeps of people. And you can see people that are buying it, trying to scoop it up. So blah, 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 whoever this person is, somebody's going to try to flex that 100K thing and burn it. I 100% guarantee you that is how Twitter works. That is how people work. Somebody will buy 100K of those Pepes and they will burn it, get a Twitter post going and show them a picture of their 1 ton tungsten cube delivered. Guaranteed. Like I can 100% guarantee that's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I know somebody will do that. Whether it be Vince himself or somebody else on this owner list. And you can watch this and figure out which person's going to do that first. But yeah, that's that. I'm actually going to cut it off a little bit early just because it doesn't look like we have that many people. So that's not that big of a deal. People can always go ahead and watch it. I'm going to actually try to complete this out for this guy real quick. So, hey, I appreciate everybody hopping on. I hope that, and I will catch you guys later. Thank you very much. Good day.